Hi, everyone. Henry DeVries with Wealth Authority TV. This is the show that helps wealth authorities, those financial advisors, wealth managers, and insurance agency owners, fight the fine fight, to do the noble work that you do to help those people with money. And we certainly have a authority expert on the money subject today, actually guarding the money and keeping the money that you have. Uh, Author John Iannarelli. John, how are you today?
I'm great. Henry, thanks for having me today.
Well, it's an honor to have you today, John. So, John, why don't you tell people about your work formerly with the FBI and what you're doing now and about your books?
All right. Well, I started off as a police officer many years ago, went to law school and got my law degree, practiced law for a hot second before I joined the FBI, became a special agent, and I spent over 20 years working in the cyber arena, investigating cybercrime. Since then, I travel around the world speaking at various conferences to private sector entities, and especially in the financial sector, about the cyber dangers that are affecting people. More importantly, how to keep yourself safe along the way. I've written some books on these topics. Disorderly Conduct is my most recent, which is really a humorous look at some of these stories and the funny stories from the FBI. But others, much more serious, like WTF, keeping your kids safe online with all the threats. And by the way, identity theft, number one for kids, because I steal your identity, Henry. You're going to find out pretty quickly. I steal your kids. You're not going to know until they turn 18. So that and other things to be aware of, not just as a business person, but as a parent out there in society.
I've booked John as a speaker for conferences I put on over the years. I give him an A plus. It's my top rating, but he has some amazing shtick where he says, give me a live internet hookup. And right there, he'll find all this information out about himself that he shares. So this is what you can find. And I'm not even on the dark web. So a lot of things to be concerned about. What are the scams that the the wealth authorities should be wary of right now, John?
Well, the experts in wealth and those managing money, you need to be concerned with two things. Number one, they definitely want your money. They want your client's money. And that's great. I steal your money. I get to spend it today. But even more valuable, they want your information, your client's info. They steal your client's info. They get to spend that every day for the rest of their lives. And that's why it's so important to protect what you have. Unfortunately, the cyber criminals, they look at you as one-stop shopping. I go into healthcare and I hack into a system, I'm going to get some information. I go to a bank, I'm going to get some money. I go to you, the private money managers, I'm going to get the best of both worlds. That's why you're so frequently targeted and why you have to be aware of what's going on out there. Here's the good news, though. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to be a cybersecurity expert. You just got to be a little bit better than the other guy. Cyber criminals don't want to waste any time digging deep and stealing information and money. If you've got some protection, they move on to the next person. It's like you and I go for a hike in the woods. A bear comes along. I don't have to outrun that bear. I have to outrun you. And that's exactly what you're doing with cybersecurity. A little bit of effort separates you from everybody else and keeps you safe.
And knowing John, he would spread some honey and smoked salmon jerky on me before he started running away from the bear. So he's always prepared. John, we talked about before that in addition to protecting yourself that way, just some basic things about being careful what you throw away in the trash. A lot of times, they're dumpster diving and they're getting information out that we should have shredded and destroyed better. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, dumpster diving is alive and well. And it's not so much the clients that you have on this webinar, it's their clients who probably don't think about their sensitive information. How many times do they get bank statements or 401k records for the year and then they just throw it in the garbage? Dumpster divers are looking for anything to piece together. People go to the mailbox, they collect their mail, and they throw it in that handy garbage pail that the condo association has put there. Well, what comes in that mail? They're getting credit card applications pre-approved. And I find it as a dumpster diver, I'm filling out all that information in your name, but I'm changing the address so it goes to the address I wanted to. I get your card and go on a spending free. You don't know anything until you get an alert from the credit card company. Hey, you're overdue in your payment. Those types of things is why we want to make sure we're constantly shredding anything that has valuable, personal, identifiable information.
Because I know you, now I quit throwing that material away, even the junk, what we would call junk mail from advertisers. And we just have a bin and we take that regularly down to Staples. They charge us by the pound, and it's money well spent to keep this information out of those hands. Okay, so the question I wanted to get your opinion on for this show, John, is this. What can the financial industry do to improve the image of financial advisors?
So, one of the things you can do is about being proactive in your security. You tell your clients that you're our number one concern. We're worried about your wealth. But that's all going to shake out in the numbers. And at the end of the day, none of us have control over the economy. But you could be doing other things that show how much you care. For example, identity theft monitoring. Offer that as a resource to your clientele. And let me talk about that for a second. So, you need identity theft monitoring. We all do. Uh, every one of us are carrying fire insurance on our home. When's the last time your house burnt down? Hopefully never. Your credit, your identity, it's on fire as we sit here and speak today. Somebody is trying to steal your and your clientele's information. By offering identity theft monitoring, do business, you're one of our customers' clients, we're protecting you and your family by watching everybody's credit. You've seen the commercials on TV for this stuff, and it can be pricey. Not so much. There's a lot of companies out there that literally offer it for pennies, as low as 49 cents a month per person. You can actually make this a profit revenue stream for yourself by saying, hey, sign up for credit monitoring for $2 a month and 10,000 clients. You have an income stream based on that alone. But even better, you can offer it to your clients. They feel good, not just doing business with you, but knowing you're working for them 24/7 by keeping them, their family safe.
Great advice. If we Google this, what should we be looking for to choose one?
Well, there's a lot of companies out there, and I've taken the time to vet the ones. The one I use personally, and let me make clear, Henry, I get nothing from these companies, mostly because they've refused to pay me. But nevertheless, still, I swear by some of the companies I work with, you go to me, my website, you contact me, I'll send you a link to who I use personally and who can keep you safe.
And that website would be?
Easy to find me, fbijohn.com. Email me at john@fbijohn.com, and I'll get you whatever you need. In addition to identity theft, there's device protection. You know, all those devices you have, Henry, your cell phones, your iPads, not to mention the computers, you got to keep them safe with the right technology. The big technologies companies that are out there that offer software and antivirus protection, that's exactly who the criminals are targeting. If they can hack into one of those, they can get into millions of devices. Something a little more off the shelf that's not as common. I make some recommendations of smaller companies. You get their products. Nobody's targeting them because they're not the big vendors, yet their track record is fantastic. I use them to protect every device I have. Think about this. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I don't have time to be monitoring my devices. In the financial industry, you sure don't either. You need somebody making sure all your devices are safe so that you can keep everyone that works with you safe as well.
Great advice. John, is there anything you want to add before we have to bid adieu?
Well, I'll tell you, Henry, sad to say, it's always the insider that's the problem. Some employee, even some client that makes a mistake online, none of these people are bad people. It's not somebody with nefarious intent. It's just somebody that clicks on a wrong link. One of your employees in your office clicks on something they think is legitimate and they don't know any better. Your clientele thinks they're doing a wire transfer and they've received instructions from you, but they've clicked on the wrong link. The education part of this is really important. Put out some tips. Nothing long and elated. You want to put out maybe a singular tip once a month, cyber tip of the month of how to be safe, making sure that person on the inside, if you can reduce that risk, you can protect yourself beyond any money you can spend on cybersecurity.
Thanks so much, John. Always great talking with you, and look forward to seeing you again soon at one of these events. So, for all those financial wealth advisors out there, keep those clients healthy, wealthy, and wise. We're out.